if this was your job, this is the way that you eat, this is the way that you live, this is the way you pay your rent. If this was your job and you got one of the most important tasks of probably your entire lifetime when it has to do with your job, is that a thing that you would ever think that you're going to do? Doctors have noticed a rampant increase in patients reporting severe neck and upper back pain. This growing trend is likely caused by people spending more time in front of their screens in the past year. It's become common that even a new term was coined, quarantine neck. This is why I highly recommend Magic Hands. Magic Hands uses revolutionary technology that recreates the feeling of a lifelike massage in your own home and reverses the pain caused by quarantine neck. Get Magic Hands today by going to www.magichandmassage.com. That's magichandmassage.com, or visit the link below. Muchachos y muchachas. The whole Epstein thing about his last days here on Earth. I say it in that tone because you probably can get off what I'm trying to emulate to you, that I don't quite believe what the official story was. And I do think that there's some weird things that could be possible about the whole scenario. Now, I can't say it, but you can probably catch my drift on that. So the whole thing, right? There have been little developments about the guards. The guards is probably one of the most frustrating things about the entire scenario, because, the narrative that they fed the investigators at time was that they were doing everything literally but their job. They were napping, they were shopping online, they were on the internet, a bunch of other things that they should not have been doing. And there haven't been any real developments from that. It was just very peculiar, strange. Nobody really bought that story until yesterday. There was some update, and that was that the guards are admitting that they falsified documents, and they're getting a slap on the wrist. Makes me wonder why, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll show you what I mean. Now, this is coming from the New York Post. Epstein guards admit to falsifying records, will skirt jail time for a deal with prosecutors. The two jail employees tasked with guarding pedophile Jeffrey Epstein the night of his suicide in the Manhattan jail admitted to falsifying records. Tova Noel, Michael Thomas admitted that they willfully and knowingly they lied on forms that stated they were making required rounds checking on the inmates the night of Epstein's 2019 fatality. I'm not going to say the S word because I don't believe that, so it's fatality. Prosecutors said that the guards were sleeping. They were surfing the web. They should have been monitoring the maximum security federal prisoner who had recently been on suicide watch. Yeah, and that's true. The whole thing was weird. The whole thing was just strange that he was literally on suicide watch for, I think, a day or two. And then they decided to take him off. And the guards, knowing that, they proceeded to do all other things. That doesn't make sense. They proceeded to get on the internet and take a nap. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you. It didn't make sense to me. Prosecutors said that the guards were sleeping and surfing the web when they should have been monitoring the maximum security federal prisoner who had been on suicide watch. Under a plea deal announced on Friday, they will avoid jail time in connection with their conduct. Guess what they get. So they're supposed to monitor and guard the most prolific pedophile, probably one of the most prolific pedophiles in our entire history. But guess what? The disgraced duo will only be required to complete 100 hours of community service. That's it. That's all they have to do. Community service. And they're doing this to cooperate with the federal probe, according to the agreement, which will be approved by the judge. Yeah, because you really have to ask yourself, like, consciously, if this was your job, this is the way that you eat, this is the way that you live, this is the way you pay your rent. If this was your job and you got one of the most important tasks of probably your entire lifetime when it has to do with your job, is that a thing that you would ever think that you're going to do, is take a nap and shop the web? Like, I just don't buy it. This just sounds too peculiar. Alongside, of course, all the other logistics, physicalities of everything, that night that happened, or apparently the official narrative with Epstein and how he did it. It doesn't make sense to me. After a thorough investigation and based on facts of this case and the personal circumstances of the defendants, the government has determined that the interest of justice will be best served by deferring prosecution in this district. U.S. Attorney Audrey Strauss, wrote to a federal judge, Annalisa Torres, in a letter filed Friday. Noel and Thomas, who were working overtime shifts, allegedly sat just 5 yards from Epstein's cell, but shopped online, took breaks instead of checking on his cell every 30 minutes as required. Allegedly. But look, I say this with confidence that I think most of us just don't believe the official story. It says at the end of this article, a very brief sentence, a 2019 poll revealed that only a third of Americans believe the nature of Epstein's death was accurately reported. That is a lot of people. That means 2/3 of us, 2/3 of us Americans don't believe the story. Like, this was one of the only things in recent years to bring us together. You realize that this was the thing that no matter what side of the spectrum or whoever you were, wherever you were, we all agreed that this was weird. This was just a very strange narrative. And again, the way that they said that he did it and all these things, all that jazz, it just didn't make sense. It was actually hopeful. I had a little bit of faith in humanity when we all came together like that. So with that being said, a lot of us don't believe the official narrative, and the fact that they're coming out to admit that they falsified records. I mean, I thought that would be like some sort of obvious thing, because if they fed the investigator the statement already that they were napping and shopping and surfing the interwebs on social media, whatever it was, you would think that, it would just be a given that they weren't performing the checks. They couldn't have. It was physically impossible. So this whole thing is strange. Like, why now? Why would this come out now? Yeah. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. What do you think about this whole admission of them coming out? Why would they even come out with it? Where were they probed to? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode.